Are you tired of the endless supply of terrible storytelling? Of uninspiring, nihilistic stories that permeate most of modern day entertainment? Are you tired of the diversity, equality, and inclusion standards that are forced upon movie creators and actors? Well, so are we. So go with us on a journey as we chronicle for you the latest news in entertainment, as we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the film industry, and as we pave a way forward to see the kingdom of Christ grow and the dragon of secularism meet its end. Now, if you want to support us in our mission, please head over to patreon.com/The Powell Bros, or follow the link in the show notes. There you will gain access to our exclusive show, The Powell Bros Mini Reviews, as well as early access to both Movie Chronicles and movie reviews. Now, on with the show. Welcome, everyone, to the Powell Bros Movie Chronicles. We took a week off, but we are back. And, oh, man, we are so back. We have so much news today. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of things going on in the world while we were gone. Everything just decided to all get dumped on us, and a lot of news, a lot of things to talk about, especially in entertainment. I am one of your hosts, Trent Powell, joined by my other host, Tobiah. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, we last week was Halloween and my birthday, and yeah, a lot of things going on. The election, a lot of things. So
Yep.
we took a week off, and we're back with a lot of things to talk about.
Ma'am. For sure. So, I'm just gonna start us off with one thing real quick.
Yep.
We Tobias, I don't know if you've heard, but and this is pretty exciting. It's something we've been waiting for, and something we've not gotten much of. So, would you, I don't know, drum roll? Say what you want to get? I don't know. I'll do drum roll. Okay, drum roll. We're getting another Star Wars trilogy. It's about time. They've announced Stephen Knight is going to be directing, probably writing, a new Star Wars trilogy. What do you think about that, Tobias?
Nice. I don't even know who that is, and
well. We actually are very familiar with this guy. He has written some pretty incredible scripts that we have actually reviewed on this podcast,
Really?
on movie reviews. Yes, he is the writer for X-Men Dark Phoenix. He is the writer for X-Men Apocalypse. And one we've actually not done yet, but we will probably eventually do, Fan Force Stick.
Wow. Yeah, just so
Now,
you guys are
credit where credit
aware,
is due.
just so you're aware, we gave Dark Phoenix a 2.7 and X-Men Apocalypse a 5.1, so
Yep. Great movies. To give credit where credit is due, he also wrote Days of Future Past and one of the other. I think he had some involvement in First Class. Okay, so we can give credit where credit is due, but I mean those X-Men movies really just aren't that great. Days of Future Past is good, but anyways, it's just funny. I don't know why they hired this guy, but he's the dude. And it's not like Disney's announced other trilogies that they're going to do, so it's all falling on this guy.
That's crazy.
And it's supposed to be 10, 11, 12, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
So, is the Rey movie going to be 10?
I don't even know. Like, remember they lost their writer, and so
so it's probably all changed.
This is what's so annoying. You want to know how many projects they've announced that have yet to come to fruition? That have yet to see the light of day. It's been 14. This brings us to 14 projects that they've announced.
Yeah.
They announced a trilogy for the Russo brothers, at least a movie, maybe a trilogy for Kevin Feige, the Rogue Squadron movie that got canned.
The Rian Johnson trilogy.
Rian Johnson was supposed to do a trilogy. The Game of Thrones guys, writers or directors, whatever, were supposed to do something. Taika Waititi has a movie. Who knows? They keep announcing all these things, and it's like, we know, we've heard this story before. We know it's not going to go anywhere. Why do you keep doing this?
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
That's crazy.
It's like, it was actually announced. They're like, hey, guess what? Stephen Knight, he's getting a Star Wars trilogy. And it's going to be 10, 11, 12. So it's like, okay, are you guys canning the Rey movie? Is this going to be the Rey movie, the first one, and then 2 others? Like,
Yeah.
dude, it's so annoying. Stop announcing projects that you don't have really much development behind.
Yeah. Well, it used to be that they would announce the project after it was written, and they're getting ready to shoot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the proper time to announce.
How many years removed? We're what, 5 years removed from Rise of Skywalker? Didn't it come out in 2018? Yeah, it was before COVID. So yeah, what, 5 years removed from that, and how many Star Wars movies have we gotten?
Yeah.
And maybe you can get excited about it if they've like shown that they can produce anything of worth.
Yeah.
But no, we got what, The Acolyte. Ahsoka wasn't great. Mandalorian season 3 was garbage.
Yep.
What else? I don't even know. We got the Skeleton Crew coming up. We got Goonies in space.
Yep.
That's supposed to come out in like a week.
Yeah, I think so. The Penguin series is over, right? That they've released all the episodes.
No. Season finale is tomorrow.
Is tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay. Nice.
So by the time this is released, it will have been finished.
Have you been watching them all?
Yep, I'm caught up, and I'm excited for tomorrow night.
Nice. I haven't been caught up at all.
You should. It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed what I watched. I haven't watched it. Yeah, what have your thoughts been throughout the series?
Similar to what I said weeks ago, it's just very well told story. That there's a couple aspects that I've noted, aspects about it that I've noticed that have been really good, and mostly that relates to just telling a good villain story where you're sympathetic for the Penguin, but especially after the last episode that we just released, you still hate him. Like he is a villain. He is a cruel, wicked man, and the show is telling you that. It's making it very clear. Especially because the beginning of the last episode, it was like, oh wow, yeah, like this guy sucks, but we love him. You know, he's a great villain, and we're following him, and like, but there's sympathy because of his past and things he's gone through, that have turned him into a villain. As in how he's reacted to his past, and how he's reacted to the trauma and the things that he's faced and gone through in life, and you're just following his rise to power throughout this show. Now there is a direction that the show could take in this final episode where it can completely deconstruct the character, and I'm like, I've been worried that they're gonna go that direction, but so far they haven't. He has been, building his empire. He's faced a lot of opposition. Like there's been real stakes involved in the show that like you feel each and every episode. They keeps the tension. It's intense. It's got good action, but also really good dialogue. Like it's a pretty dialogue driven show, and you're just so intrigued and so interested in these characters. And then Sophia Falcone's character, she's been really well handled, where she, like, they made it clear, like, this is the villain she's the villain of the Penguin show, but she's but she's like a complete psychopath, and they've established that really well. But she's like also likable in some senses, but she's also very feminine. Like they've not like turned her into a man. She's not like beating up Penguin. She's not beating him in a fist fight. She's not showing up really other men necessarily, and she has a lot of feminine attributes in like how she reacts and how she emotes and different scenarios in different ways, where she, like, there are times where she breaks down in a way that a woman would in the situation that she found herself in, and they make that very clear, and like shows that she's vulnerable like a woman, but she's been dealt pretty terrible cards in her life, and she's reacted in such a way that she's become the villain. She's turned herself into this villain and done so willingly and taken the wrong path, and it makes it very clear and that's established throughout the show. Now, like I said, there's a direction they could go in this final episode that could completely ruin both characters, and I hope they don't. I don't think they will, and I'm very curious how they're going to set up the next Batman movie, which is kind of seemingly where they're going and what it's setting up. So, who knows? There was something that happened at the end of the last episode that kind of like warrants Batman showing up. Like Batman has to show up now because like everything up to this point, like it makes sense that Batman could kind of remain in the shadows and not show up. But now it's like, okay, Batman needs to show up. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do in this last episode. If he's actually going to show up, or if it's going to be like, towards the end of the episode, and like Penguin's men are like saying, oh no, it's the Bat, he's here, and like you hear in the background like guys getting beat up and stuff, and you don't ever actually see Batman, but Penguin's like, okay, I'm out of here, something like that. And like that'd be really cool if they handle it that way. Or if he actually shows up, I'd be fine with that too. Like, it would make sense, and I kind of hope he does.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But speaking along those lines, they also announced, which is really interesting, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but they're gonna do another spin-off show, but they're gonna do it with the Joker. I can't remember the actor's name, but the Joker at the end credits or whatever of the Batman, he's supposed to have his own show, which, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're gonna do that and what direction they would take it. It'd be I'm guessing like an origin story to the Joker, which I don't know if we really need more of that.
Well, there's also the issue of like, why are they expanding on this universe of Batman when it's not even the one that James Gunn wants to use for his main universe? Like,
right?
What are they doing?
He wants this to end.
But why? Why do they? They should not recast Batman again and do this all over again. Like, just use this universe. It's already there. So what? It's not yours. Stop being so arrogant and wanting it to be all your own universe. Like, get over it.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if they're going to try to keep this universe alive, separate from James Gunn's Batman stuff, and they're going to do both. What I would love is if it all just, maybe this is where they're going. This all just transitioned into a TV show. The Batman, like Robert Pattinson's Batman, or just get rid of Robert Pattinson if he doesn't want to do a TV show. Just hire some low budget, like cheap actor who can play Batman, and do like expand upon the Penguin, do a Batman show, do a Joker show, fine, and just do these, keep it all in TV. Like, this is DC's TV show universe, and completely separate from everything else. Like, that would be so awesome. Do it on HBO Max. Just expand upon the universe in that way. It doesn't conflict with the movies, doesn't conflict with James Gunn stuff, and it can be really good. Like, come on. Pretty straightforward. Maybe that's what they're doing with announcing the Joker show. Like, because the Penguin's really successful. It's getting a lot of views. It's a lot of talk. No one's upset about it. Everyone pretty much likes it. Like, I haven't heard a negative thing about it. And so it's like, keep and expand upon that. Go with what works.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting.
Nosferatu, the Dracula spinoff movie coming out on Christmas Day. We got some more photos of that. I'm so stoked for it. Looks really good. What's his first name? Skarsgård. Is it Bill Skarsgård? I can't remember. One of the Skarsgård brothers. The one that's in John Wick 4. He's playing Nosferatu, so Dracula. And you got Willem Dafoe. You got what's his name? The guy that's going to be playing Lex Luthor in James Gunn's universe, Nicholas Hoult. Yeah. He's in it. There's a few other actors. It's just seeing more images of it. It looks really cool. It's a good, cool period piece. It looks scary, spooky. Like, I'm excited about it. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it and how well they handle it. And just keep seeing more. There's more stuff being released about it. And it's coming out Christmas Day. So
yeah,
see. how that goes.
Yeah, that sounds good. Exciting.
Brave New World, Captain America, Black African Captain, not America 4 is Brave New World is still coming out. We got I don't know if it was an official poster. I mean, it's one of the official posters that Marvel's released.
Yeah.
And
well, they also released released a trailer today.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
Maybe it could have been. It could not been today. I don't know. But there was a new trailer released. At some point, there was a new trailer released, and I watched it today.
Okay.
So,
what do you think?
They are really, really like trying to make this like the Winter Soldier, like the movie The Winter Soldier. Because there's supposed to be like some secret organization within the government that's taking over, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. You know, like they know how successful that movie is and how much everybody likes it, but they're not doing it at all. That's not why people liked it, because it was, a secret government thing within the government, and so they're not getting it
right.
And that's what they're going for, and it just looks dumb. I don't know.
Zero interest.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just there's nothing that's like there to hook you and to be like, remember Marvel of old, and this is kind of the new this is for the new generation, but like we're still continuing the story, and we want to follow these characters. Like, no, you're not giving that to us, and it doesn't look good. It's nothing exciting about it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the poster?
So many things wrong with it.
A lot.
I don't know if it's just Disney in general or what, but I think they've just completely decided to ignore all laws of physics. Just completely. In general, just they don't care what physics say. They say anything can catch on fire. Anything can make sparks.
Even if you're in space.
Yeah. Even if you're in space. Even if you're a rock wall. Even if even if you're flesh against metal. It'll spark.
It'll spark. Yeah, apparently the Red Hulk's made of metal or something.
Like, we remember Age of Ultron, when Hulk punched or maybe it was the original Avengers. I don't know. One of the Avengers. Hulk punches the shield, and what happens? It makes shockwaves. It doesn't spark. It makes shockwaves. Vibration. Yes. What the heck are those sparks on the shield?
Where are they coming from?
And Trent, what's the other major problem with it? This 2-ton, maybe more. I don't know how much he weighs. Like, what is
a lot? I don't know. I mean, not 2-ton, but yeah, the gamma radiated super soldier Hulk, massive beast of a person is punching a mere human being that isn't even that ripped. Doesn't got a whole lot of muscle mass, and is not a super soldier. The difference between Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, he could punch. Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. Bruce Banner can punch Captain America, and Captain America can stand his ground. But when you got the Red Hulk, or any Hulk, punching Sam Wilson, who is not a super soldier, who is just a human being, he's flying. He's getting pummeled into the ground. He is dead. And the comments on X under their official posts are hilarious. Yeah. It's just like one after another. It's like, he's dead. Something's missing here. People are saying like, where's Captain America? What is this that what is this? And just like completely trashing it, because that's what Marvel's become. Yeah. It's something that we laugh at, that we make fun of, and then when the movies come out, they don't make any money. but just to see there's no logic in any of it. We can, of course, we can extend logic in some way. These are superheroes. Iron Man cannot physically survive his suit if it was actually real. Like he would die in that suit. His body would not be able to sustain the G's, the force, and then the sudden stopping and flying around and all that stuff. He would die. We get it. Fine. It's still fun. It's still cool. But when you have something like this where the Hulk is punching,
there's
Sam
a
Wilson.
pre-established thing of like when you get punched by the Hulk, you die.
Yes. You don't. You go flying. Yeah. Okay. Even Loki had a hard time with the Hulk. Like, come on. So it's really dumb. This is what Marvel's become.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, even Thor had trouble with the Hulk.
Right.
Thor Ragnarok, like that was
Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, he literally punches him and he goes flying. Yeah. I kind of can't wait for this movie. It's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's
all right.
it's something.
So, do you have anything else?
Not really.
Okay, I want to quickly just briefly talk about a movie that you and I both saw, and that is a new movie that is out called Heretic, a new horror movie. I just want to hear your initial overall thoughts. Like, first, did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. For sure. Okay. It was very suspenseful. I mean, I was at the edge of my seat most of the time, like very like I just wanted to know, like it was very suspenseful and kept my attention the whole time, for sure.
Totally. So this movie is it's a religious horror, but it's a unique religious horror because it's following two Mormons, which is something I don't think it's probably ever been done, at least in like big Hollywood, somewhat Hollywood. I mean, this is A24, so they do a lot. Like they support a lot of like indie directors and writers and so forth. The two guys that wrote and directed, I think they wrote it and directed this movie. They've worked on other movies like A Quiet Place. So they were I think they were writers on A Quiet Place, and they've done a few other kind of horror-esque thriller movies and whatnot. So anyways, religious horror, but it's a really interesting concept where pretty much two female Mormon missionaries are going throughout the town trying to convert people, and they meet this one guy, and or he he goes online, says, hey, I'd like someone to come and tell me about your religion, tell me about Mormonism, about the LDS, so because you can do that, and they'll come knock on your door, and you can invite them in, and so forth, which they do. And I'm not going to get into the whole plot, but for one, like, what'd you think of Hugh Grant? Like Hugh Grant's character?
At first, it was kind of weird seeing Hugh Grant in a role like that.
Yeah.
But after I got over that, like, he nailed it. Like, he was creepy.
Yes. That was probably one of the best horror villains I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Like, he played and he did an incredible job and played this character that was so like eerie and intimidating and threatening, but also like he was really welcoming to these girls. He's very, like, at first he seems like very kind and respectable, and even times throughout the film where he like can switch on a dime and like act like, just like a normal person, and like a really like older, warm, kind man, and he's like inviting these girls in, he's like giving them blueberry pie, and 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 just wanting to have dialogue with them and whatnot. But like when he like asked that one question about polygamy, that's where I think like it really started to really shift. And then talk about acting. The two girls that acted in this film, that played the two sisters, they were incredible. They drove a lot of the suspense and a lot of the tension, just how they were reacting to the situation, the utter horror and terror that they were dealing with and facing, and the stress and anxiety. Like you felt it coming off of them, and like felt like you were in the movie with them, and just how the cinematography was incredible, where like the cameras would pan like onto their face, and it was like really close ups, both of Hugh Grant and the sisters, and so forth.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just so incredible. And it's really dialogue driven. So there's not a whole lot of horror elements till you get to like kind of the third act, but at the same time, not really. Like it's like there are horror elements, because you don't know what's going to happen. And he kind of takes them throughout their house, and you never know what's behind the next door, what's down the hallway. Like that one scene with the statue, like at the bottom of the staircase, like that was that was horrifying, because you think there's someone standing there, or like they think it's Mr. Reed, which is interesting. Mr. Reed like sounds like mystery, which is really, I don't know if that's something I caught on to. I was like, oh, I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Cause like he is a mystery. Like, you don't know who this guy is and what he's about.
Yeah.
He tells them that like, oh, his wife's in the kitchen baking pie, and and so he keeps talking about his wife, and he comes, and they say, oh, can we please see your wife? Cause like we're supposed to have a female presence when we go into a man's house, which makes sense. And he's like, yeah, let me go talk to her. Let me go see what she's doing and stuff. The question about polygamy, and then the blueberry pie candle. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this in other theaters, but they did this for one night, like the opening night, which I saw it Thursday night. They scented the entire theater to smell like blueberry pie.
Wow.
So I'd heard that they were doing that in some theaters, but I thought you had to, it was like a special thing, and like only like a few select theaters were doing, and you had to pay like extra to go do the sensory one. There are some that were actually serving blueberry pie, because like a lot of theaters serve food now.
Yeah.
My theater doesn't; they just do the normal movie theater snacks. But they were actually serving blueberry pie. But for mine, they actually scented the theater, so like, the whole movie it smelled like blueberry pie, and it created a lot more like eeriness, and like kind of like
that's crazy,
added to the horror aspect, because it didn't feel right. And I didn't like catch on right away. It was when I was eating my popcorn, I was like, something doesn't taste right, like something's off with my popcorn, like I don't know why, like, and like I have to have popcorn when I'm in the movie theater.
Now I'm
like,
curious if I just missed it, like if it did and I just couldn't tell. I feel like
maybe.
So one thing I want to tell you. So our theater was packed, like completely full, like completely.
Yeah.
Like I was very surprised.
Wow.
I haven't been in a full theater for any movie other than like some big Marvel movie or something in a long time.
Yeah, like Deadpool. Yeah.
It was very interesting to see how full it was.
Right. Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
And like I said, my theater doesn't fill up a lot. I live in a college town, but yeah, it was packed. Apparently, this movie's doing really well. It's got really good reviews and stuff. But yeah, so like I had heard that they were doing that in different theaters, and that was like it really kind of like surprised me when I started smelling blueberry pie in the theater, and it was just. I think it started when he lit the candle too, if I remember correctly.
That's so cool. That's such a cool concept that people haven't gone into.
I love that so much. Just adds to the already kind of immersive theater experience. I was in one of the smaller theaters, so they at ours, like the smaller ones have really good surround sound, and so that was really cool. And, man, I love, like, that was one of the best like horror movie theater experiences I've ever had. But like, a top 5 like theater experiences. I had a great time, and I was so invested in the story and so intrigued and like wondering where this is going and so forth.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, A24, they sometimes have good hits. A
Sure.
lot of
Yeah.
their movies, they're very popular. A lot of people are real big A24 fans. But for me, I've
Hmm.
maybe seen like 3 or 4 movies from them that I really like. I mean, they have tons of
Yeah.
movies. They make tons of movies. And I think that's why they do sometimes have good hits because of how many they make. So
Too much.
like you're just naturally, I mean, if you're good at what you do, like you'll eventually have a hit. And they're good at what they do for sure. But a lot of their movies have nudity and stuff, and
Hmm.
some I haven't been interested in even watching. But
Yeah.
some of their older stuff, like I don't know if you've seen Locke. It's with Tom Hardy. The entire movie takes place in a car, and he's just driving the
Oh, I've
entire
heard about
time.
it, but
That's a
yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
That was by them. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that I really liked. But yeah.
Oh, did you catch who played the elder from the Mormon
Mm-mm.
Church who came like knocking on
I
the
don't know
door?
who that was.
It was Topher Grace.
Really?
Yeah, Topher Grace. That '70s show, Spider-Man
Yeah.
3, Venom.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I didn't even catch it
I did
during
not
the
recognize him
movie.
at all.
Yeah. Neither did
Oh,
I.
the Iron Claw was also an A24 film.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it? Have we talked about that one?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked
Have you
about it.
seen it?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen it.
Yeah,
After you
that's a
had
good one.
you'd mentioned it on our podcast, so then I went and saw it.
Right. Okay.
Um
Yeah. So I don't think we've talked about it since you've seen it, but anyways, another time. Um. Yeah. Like. So what did you think? Just briefly, without spoiling it, I guess. I'm gonna do a mini review of Heretic. Later on our Patreon. We might release it to the public. We're not sure. We'll figure that out later. But if you definitely want to hear it, subscribe to our
yeah.
Patreon. I'll give my review of it. But just thinking like about religious horror and how they handled religion throughout the film. How do you think it concluded? What was the overall like message you think like the let's say the directors and the writers were trying to get across at the end of the film? Because I think it's left up to interpretation, I think, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. But I'm curious how you thought that was handled.
Yeah. I've thought about it a little bit. I mean, I watched it last night. Yeah, last night.
Oh,
So, very fresh.
sure.
Yeah, this movie's I mean, it was crazy. I think that was kind of the point, is that it's supposed to be left up to interpretation, and they didn't want any they weren't giving any main points. I think I was thinking about just like an average viewer, what would they take away from it? And I think it just in general, it would put a bad light on just any religion at all. But if you look at it and you see what they did in the end, I would say they say that it was a point that, because one of her last comments was that, prayer doesn't work, but then she prayed and then it worked. So it's
And
like,
then it worked.
well, yeah, prayer does work. And, yeah, no, it was very much, I mean, it was it was a test of faith movie. Like, because that's what the whole movie was. This guy was testing their faith, and then trying to convince them of all kinds of different things. Even in the, like, you're just wondering what does this guy believe? He's talking about one true religion, and then
Right.
he gets to the point, spoilers, where he says that the one true religion is control, and that's what the point of every religion is to control people. And but I don't know, it's a test of faith movie, and he's testing their faith, and I would say the one girl that died, she failed in having faith. Like her faith wasn't there fully, and then the other girl, her faith was stronger, and yeah, she just endured to the end, really, because I think she did have that faith. And I think even when she was telling him that faith doesn't work, I think she was trying to that prayer doesn't work, I think she was trying to convince him, but didn't believe it, because she ended up praying, and then it worked. And so I don't know, it's interesting.
Right. And like, because both their faiths were tested. Like, they had the choice of the door, belief or disbelief. And the girl that makes it out in the end, she chose disbelief originally, because she's like, oh, this is what he wants us to do. He wants us to admit that, oh, he's convinced us. He's shown us that, okay, we're our religion is the wrong religion, and so forth. And the other girl's like, well, no, belief. Like, we need to stand upon our belief. And like, yeah, I think I would say she failed in the end. And then the whole resurrection thing, where she comes back and then saves her friend, there's a lot to kind of interpret in that and unpack in that. I've seen some atheists saying, oh, this movie gives a great case for atheism and shows that all religion is fake and false, and counterfeits of the well sorry, showing my hand there, that they're all just counterfeits. They're all just they're all fake. And it's all about control. And it's like, well, no, if that were the case, then this movie would have ended completely differently. It wouldn't have ended her making her way out into the snow and being saved and rescued, and the villain being defeated and crushed and killed, and him kind of being proven wrong in the end, which he was. And they also forget, it's like, guys, if you're siding with the villain, then you're the villain. Like, you're missing the point of the story. Like, he is the bad guy. He is the one that is presenting his view of the world and presenting his case. He's the serpent. He's lying. He's speaking like, hath God really said? And he's the one that you shouldn't be agreeing with, or and so forth. Now, he makes points that some people can say are good points. I kind of wish he would have done a better job at like combating religion as far as like an apologetic standpoint, and like getting into apologetic arguments, which I love, and I can enjoy. It's like, because he brings up the god Horus, and saying how Horus was crucified and resurrected, and he is born on December 25th. And the problem with that is the myth of Horus has been disproven time and time again. Like, there is zero account and zero like historic Egyptian writings that say that Horus was crucified and resurrected and that he was born on December 25th.
Well, so that's false. Yeah.
Like, it was,
that's kind of like the point, though, is like, so these girls, that's what they had to learn, was to fight him with knowledge. That was one of the points of the movie, because at that point they weren't fighting him with knowledge, and then later on they were. So, but that's what he was doing too, was testing them. Like, he was like throwing all these things. Like, he probably knew that. Like, the character, and so like he probably wanted them to fight back, and yeah, I don't know.
Sure, yeah, that's a good point. And like, I appreciate how the girl responded when she kind of combated him on those theories, and she said that just because there's similarities doesn't disprove religion, doesn't disprove Christianity, because Horus it was got the head of a bird, and he's not Jesus, and like, that's the thing, is like, there are stories of death and resurrection all throughout history, because we've talked about this many times. That's how God tells stories, through death and resurrection. There are stories of death and resurrection, pictures of that, foretelling the coming of Christ and foreshadowing the coming of Christ, all throughout the Old Testament, but also all throughout history, because that's how God tells stories, through the grave. And people going into the grave and then coming out of it resurrected, new life. That's what he did to the world in the days of Noah, which, there's so much in this movie I want to unpack. When he mentions Noah at the beginning of the film, when it starts raining, it's downpouring. And also she says, I remember the one elder said, it's time to get your baptism. Now they're talking about like, she wants to baptize someone, but it's like, It was kind of saying like, you're about to be baptized because they're going into the house, they're going into the ark, they're going to die. It was just clear imagery, like, where the ark is actually used in scripture as a representation of baptism, death through life. Go into Moses or Noah and his family go into the ark, and they are saved through while the waters crash over them and so forth. The ark takes them through safely, and then they come out alive. Death and resurrection. It's raining upon them, and she's saying, "Time to get your baptism." They go inside. Well, he mentions, it's just like Noah in the flood, and they go into the ark, but this is an ark of death. He's saying, "Come into my place of refuge," and then they have to go, and then they ascend deeper and deeper into the house, down into the grave, death, and then she comes out resurrected. It's snowing. It's not raining anymore. So
it's great.
So much imagery, so much cool things. I was like, man, I love this movie. There's problems with it, a lot of issues, but even then, it's like, it's not an apologetic for Mormonism. I actually think it makes it very clear that Mormonism is a false religion because it is counterfeit. It's exactly what he's saying it is with the whole Monopoly game analogy, because Joseph Smith was a plagiarist. He did take Christianity and remade it into his own, how he wanted it to be hundreds of years later after Christ.
Yeah.
And even the whole thing with polygamy, and it was very clear that Mormonism is a religion of control, and it's all about obtaining a glorification. It's about, you have to live the right life. You have to live in obedience and conjure up enough righteousness so that you can reach the highest heavens and become your own God and have your own control in your own world. So it is a religion of control. Christianity, on the other hand, is not a religion of control, which is something that the movie kind of, I think, subliminally does say, and how it ends, but it doesn't explicitly say it. But Christianity is not a religion of control, because the God of all the universe came down and became a man. He humbled himself to the point of being a man, and then point of death on the cross. He came and bore our sins. He came and entered our miserable state, the opposite of control. He gave up control and then died, bearing our sins, our crimes against God. He descended into hell. He descended into the grave, and then defeated death and rose again from the grave, defeating Satan, crushing the head of the serpent, the one that speaks lies, the ones that comes out and says that, religion is all about control, that God is all about controlling you, and he just wants you to be his little slave and so forth, and whatever lies that we could say, like, or like, the lies of, like, you can become God, you can have control, you can do this, which is the lie of Mormonism. But Christ came down, died, and then rose victoriously, tearing down the wall, the dividing wall between God and man, so that we can be set free and not, be under control, but set free to serve and follow our King, our Savior, who came to die for us, and the one who vanquished and defeated Satan once and for all time. So, anyways, this is why I like movies like this, because it creates a conversation that is worth having, and that we should have, and that people should have, and it gets people to think. I think maybe this movie, you're right, like, some people can, like, just a general viewer can interpret it as like, oh, religion is all about control and it's false and fake. But it's like, no, that's not actually the story that's being told here, because if they did, they did a really bad job at telling that in that way, in my opinion.
For sure.
So
sweet. This
is also why Mormonism is becoming more liberal. In fact, Utah is becoming more blue after the election. If you look at the how Utah voted, it's becoming more blue because Mormonism is all about control, and they're all about bending the knee to the culture in order to remain relevant. That's the thing with polygamy. The reason that they denounced polygamy is because it wasn't culturally relevant anymore. And so in order to control their people and control the masses and spread their religion, they bow to the culture and so forth. And that's one thing that we don't do as Christians, or shouldn't do as Christians. So. Anyways.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I want more like this. like I said, it's dialogue, mostly dialogue driven.
Yeah.
But it's horrifying. It's terrifying. Like these girls are locked inside this man's house.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And can't escape.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Kind of, but I think I'm going to save this the conversation that I want to have maybe for next time. Just I think, we're not a political show, but the election has really shown and revealed a lot of things about our culture this year. I think I want to have this conversation another time, but 2024 was the year that wokeism died.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried, they've pushed these movies, they've pushed their TV shows, they pushed their agendas in these shows and in these movies and the stories they want to tell, and they've failed over and over again, going all the way back to the beginning of the year with the Marvels, which bombed, with what other movies came out this year, Furiosa, Madam Web, Joker, and then TV shows like The Acolyte, Agatha, Echo, Rings of Power, all these shows, all these projects, like, great. You guys had fun telling your stories and pushing all these things out there, but they failed. They failed miserably. No one wants to see these things. No one cares about any of these movies, these stories that you're trying to tell. You are these Hollywood elites that are living in your own world, and you don't understand how the real world works. And it shows. And so, anyways, conversation for another day. As we're getting to the end of 2024, I think reflecting upon this year is really helpful and good, and I think something we should do. And just realize, look where we've come from this year, and then look at the movies that have been successful, and compare that to what we're seeing. Inside Out 2, it didn't have really all agendas that they wanted to push. Riley wasn't a lesbian, and guess what? It's the highest grossing animated film of all time. Okay, we've talked about that already, but still, it's like, that's just an example, a clear example, especially within Disney. Okay, but also with the whole meltdown after the election, the liberals just losing their absolute minds, and just the shock that they're going through as they realize the results of the election. It's just hilarious, and it's evident that like that wokeism, critical race theory, progressivism, and secularism is dying or is dead, because that's not what people want. It's not. It's not grounded in reality. It has to die. And we know that it's going to die. It can't last. It doesn't produce fruit. It doesn't produce life. It doesn't tell good stories. It doesn't tell stories the way that reflect how the world is. So, anyways.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too much more into that, but
yeah,
just really interesting.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely.
So, I have a fun question for us.
Sweet.
Just to finish us off. You recently finished all the Conjuring films.
Yeah.
So, if you were to rank your top 3 Conjuring universe films, what would they be?
Oh man.
It's off the top of your head.
Well, The Conjuring one would be my top.
Yep.
Trying to remember. Annabelle would probably be my second. Trying to remember how
about Conjuring 2. What do you think? Where'd that one that fall in top 3?
It was all right. I wouldn't say it was my top 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. The 2 Nun movies were awful.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But fun. I mean, good. They have good horror.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, some of the best horror in the franchise.
Yeah.
Terrible stories.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just not good movies.
Yeah. Like, you could tell they weren't based on true stories.
Unlike
the other ones.
Definitely not.
Right. Yeah, you could tell those were made up.
Right.
I really liked The Curse of La Llorona. I don't know. A lot of them blend
Yeah,
together now.
right.
I don't know.
I've only seen.
I can't remember if I like how much I liked the other two Annabelle movies. Oh,
I don't even remember Annabelle Comes Home.
the
Well, maybe I do.
the wait, no, that's the first Annabelle. They all just blend together at this point.
Right. Because the second one is the creation. It's set in that foster home.
Yeah, I remember
That one
that.
has a lot of good horror.
Yeah.
And the third one is it follows their the Warren's daughter.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's in the Warren's house.
Yep. That's right.
I don't.
That was the
I've
third
seen it
Annabelle
once. I don't
movie,
think
right?
I liked it. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah, that one wasn't that great. What was the second Annabelle movie?
Annabelle Creations.
Oh, okay.
In the foster home.
Oh, yeah.
Or the orphanage or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I kind of remember that one.
Yeah.
The last Conjuring movie, that wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm. Actually watched it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I wanted to watch that one because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I just because I knew you'd watched them all, and
Yeah.
I wanted to maybe talk about it if we had time.
Yeah.
So.
That one wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what would be my third. Like I feel like after the first two, it kind of all, except for the Nun movies that really sucked. I feel like they were all kind of the same level. But I did like La Llorona pretty. I liked that one. It was pretty good. It was about a mother and her children and what she would do for her children it was a good story for sure. I can't remember how it ended.
I don't even remember it. Yeah.
I can't remember if with these movies it's
Kind of
but the third Conjuring I liked that one. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Having just seen the third one, and only seeing the second one once a while ago, I remember liking the second one as a horror movie. Of course, there are elements of it that I didn't like, but I don't know. I feel like the first one is really good, and all the other ones kind of I don't know. They just kind of they blend together, and some of them are good, but they're really Hollywoodized. And the problem I have with the third one is how it ends, where it's just the thing that casts out the demon or that gets rid of the witch or whatever is their love for, or breaks the curse is their love for one another. It's true love wins at the end, and it's like, okay, fine, but that's not how we deal with the demonic.
No, but so there was with that one, there's a lot to dig in with that one, because that one wasn't as much a demon as it was a witch. Like all the other ones, they're directly interacting with a demon. With that one, they were interacting with a witch, so they weren't actually interacting with a demon. So it was very different playing grounds. Because they were dealing with a witch and her curses and stuff like that, and so like they broke the curse with their love. But it sounds cheesy. I don't think it's as cheesy in the movie as as we're saying it. But so there that I did like that it was different than all the other ones because it was a witch and not a demon, and she had placed a curse on them, and
and the love between a husband and wife, like does break that curse. Okay, you might have convinced me now I think about it more, because you're right. It wasn't a demon that they were necessarily dealing with. I'm trying to even now remember. So, because the kid at the beginning, he technically not possessed by a demon. It was the curse that was put upon him.
Yeah. So the whole movie, it was a curse.
Moved on to his brother.
The whole movie was
Right. Okay.
curses. It was
I didn't
never
even put that
it was never
together.
demonic. It was never a
Yeah.
demon. I mean, what she was doing was demonic, and
Necessarily.
she was
conjuring
interacting.
up
Yeah,
demons.
she's
Yeah.
interacting with
Right.
demons, but the Warrens and all the victims were dealing with a witch and her curses that she was placing on them, and yeah. So
You might have
it was
sold me in that.
witchcraft that they were
Okay.
dealing with, and not demons.
Right. I did like that one better
Yeah.
the second time around watching it than I did when I first watched it. So I thought it was the script was pretty straightforward. There were some aspects of it that were like maybe things that could have been taken out a little longer than the other ones. It felt like
Yeah.
and there was there was one scene. I don't know it. There was one green screen scene. One thing I realized is that horror movies shouldn't do green screens. Like if you can't do CGI or do practical, like don't do green screen because it really takes you out of the film. It's
When
they're
they're
on the cliff.
yeah.
They're like when they
And then he
when they
falls
fall
off.
Like
Yeah.
it's clearly a green screen. It's just like it really took me out of the film. I was like, oh come on, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
It just shows like this is a bigger budget film, but then the bigger the budget, the less real it ends up looking sometimes. And so, anyways, it's like,
Yeah.
That's one thing I know. It's like, nope, horror movies should not use green screen most of the time. For the most part, don't do it.
Yeah. For sure.
Unless it's like sci-fi horror, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
interesting. Well,
Yeah.
we don't have time to do a tier list for our animated films, so I think we should probably close this one
Yeah.
out.
That's fine.
Do it next time. That's all right.
Yeah. Well, this ended up being a horror film episode.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we've been into lately.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Which is fun. It's good.
Yep.
Sometimes better than talking about the horror of Disney and Marvel and all these things.
Yeah. For sure.
Which we still talked about, but
Yeah.
later.
Cool.
Don't need to expand on it too much.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. Trent's going to do a extended mini review on Heretic, the newest A24 film. Actually, there's 2 A24 films in theaters right now. The one with Andrew Garfield. But Heretic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so kind of like what we talked about in this episode, that's kind of a tease for what we kind of do in our mini reviews that we have on our Patreon. So if you're interested in more of that and listening to more of our reviews of stuff, head over there at patreon.com/the Powell Bros. We have, we're on 33 episodes of mini reviews.
Wow.
So there's 33 movies on there that we've reviewed. So yeah, we have tons of movies and we take recommendations as well. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.